So today I'm going to discuss the 59th quadrennial US presidential elections to be held on the 3rd of November 2020. Who will be the next president of the United States of America? Will it be Donald Trump or will it be the Democratic candidate Joe Biden and his running mate Kamala Harris? We don't have the chart for Mike Pence, who's the running mate for Donald Trump, but I will be discussing the charts of Donald Trump, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, the promising new star Kamala Harris, and let's see what the future has in store. I will discuss Donald Trump's horoscope first. 14th June 1946, 10:55 AM, Jamaica, USA. This is the Leo Lagna horoscope, with the Lagna Lord Sun in the 10th house with Rahu, 10th Lord Venus in the 12th house with 7th Lord Saturn. Amatya Karak Moon is debilitated in the 4th house in Rahu Ketu axis. Now let's see the dasha that Donald Trump is running. Jupiter Saturn and the Gemini Chardasha of Cancer Pisces. Now Cancer has both Venus and Saturn, and Pisces has the 4th aspect, or I would say Pisces is Dvisabhav Rashi. Mercury, the Amatya Karak, is in Mithun, Gemini, and therefore the 4 Kendras have the aspect of Matrikarak, Mercury. Now why is Matrikarak important here? Pad Prapti or position, the 4th lordship, the equivalent of the 4th lordship is the Matrikarak, and Mercury here is a Swagrahi Matrikarak in its own sign Gemini, aspecting the Kendras, aspecting the Rashi of Pisces, and therefore there is strength that it will give to the Pisces Antardasha. In the Dashamsh, Pisces also has an exalted Venus with Saturn. Why is the exaltation of Venus important here? From the Mahadasha of Cancer, Venus is the 4th lord. The 4th house is Libra. Lordship is that of Venus. And Venus is exalted in Dashamsha with Saturn in the house of Pisces, in the Rashi of Pisces. Pisces comes into play here again with an exalted planet, and not to forget that Venus also holds the 4th lordship from Karka, Cancer, the MD Lord, or the MD Rashi. In the Gemini Chardasha, the MD is of Cancer. Amatya Karak Moon is aspecting Cancer. The AD or the Antardasha is that of Pisces. Amatya Karak Moon is aspecting the 11th from it. Not to forget that the 7th Lord is also looked at for Pad Prapti. The 7th Lord for Leo Lagna is Saturn. Saturn is also the Dara Karak. Therefore, it has the effect of, or the responsibility of pulling through the 7th Lordship more so. And Saturn is with an exalted Venus in D10, not to forget that. So the Lordship, the 7th Lordship of Saturn, which gives Pad Prapti, or a higher position, is with an exalted Venus. Saturn is also the Antardasha Lord in the Vimshotri Dasha. Though the placement of Saturn in the 12th house is a bit problematic, but here let me also tell you that if we look at the horoscope of United States of America, then we know that next year onwards, from July, USA will move to war and fight another country. There can be some troubles ahead even in this year, towards the end of the year. October, November are months that can see USA in a bit of a clash with another country. But next year onwards, we see the combinations of war, not like a full-fledged war, but a semi-war picking up from July 4th onwards. So if Trump wins, then the 7th Lordship gets activated, because every time, if you look at it, I mean, we've studied so many charts of so many presidents and prime ministers, not just of USA, but across countries. Every time a country goes to war, the prime minister or the president, in India, we would look at the prime minister's chart. The 7th Lordship would get activated if the country is going to war or is facing some serious clashes at the border. So if we are looking at Prime Minister Narendra Modi's chart, we know that we will have a lot of border clashes with China from September onwards. So the connect of the 7th Lordship has to be studied, because India is going to face a lot of serious border clashes and serious consequences, and I have shared this and said this previously as well in many of my videos. Coming back to Donald Trump's chart. Donald Trump is running Jupiter-Saturn in Vimshottari, and Saturn, as I've mentioned, is with an exalted planet in the Shamsh. The Yogini Dasha that Donald Trump runs is Saturn-Venus, interestingly, a very tricky period astrologically. And yes, I see victory for Donald Trump as compared to the other charts, and now I'm going to talk about Joe Biden as well, and let's look at his chart and see how his stars are stacked up. So let's talk about Joe Biden now. The birth details for Joe Biden are 20th November 1942, 8:30 a.m. Scranton, Pennsylvania, USA. This is a Scorpio Lagna chart with Lagna Lord and the 11th Lord, Mercury, in the 12th house. Here Mars is aspecting the 7th house, which has retrograde Saturn. The dasha that Joe Biden is running is that of Jupiter Rahu. Jupiter is exalted in this chart, and that is a very strong point for this chart. An exalted Jupiter, he is running the Antardasha as well as the Pratyantar Dasha of Jupiter, which is in exaltation and which stays in exaltation in Navamsha, in D9 as well. The Gemini Chardasha that Joe Biden is running is that of Sagittarius and Leo. Now let's juxtapose the two dashas, Vimshottari and the Chardasha. The Chardasha is that of Sagittarius, and Jupiter is in the 8th. It is also the Lagna Lord. If the progression Lagna, if in Gemini, I mean, we look at progression Lagnas as well. So the progression Lagna or the Dasha is that of Sagittarius, Jupiter is in the 8th, exalted in the 8th, and the Vimshottari is of Jupiter. Yes, Rahu is in the 10th house, and it is the Antardasha Lord in Vimshottari. Leo, in which Rahu is housed, is also the Antardasha of Gemini Chardasha. So Leo is important. In the 10th from Leo, we have retrograde Saturn with an aspect of Mars. So Rahu and the Antardasha of Leo are both not showing the promised result to manifest, in spite of the fact that he has an exalted Jupiter and he is running the Mahadasha and the Pratyantar Dasha of exalted but retrograde Jupiter. In D9 as well, Rahu has the aspect of both the 4th aspect of Mars and is conjunct with retrograde Saturn alongside Moon and Mercury. So Rahu is not a very promising Antardasha. So that is Joe Biden for you. And I feel that though his stars are strong, but he might not be able to make the cut and become the next President of the United States of America. And alongside Joe Biden, let's look at the chart of Kamala Harris now. Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, the birth details for her are 20th October 1964, 21:28 hours, Oakland, USA. This is a Gemini Lagna horoscope with Lagna Lord debilitated in the 5th house with Sun. The dasha that she is running in Vimshotri is Rahu Mercury. Mercury is debilitated. Rahu is in the Lagna. The Gemini dashas that she is running at this point in time through the election is that of Pisces, Libra. Pisces is the 10th house of this chart and Libra is the 5th. From the 10th, Libra is the 8th. From the 10th house, Libra is the 8th Rashi. And Libra is housing the Vimshotri Antardasha Lord, Mercury. After the last week of September, Rahu Ketu would have moved axes and Rahu and Ketu would be instead of her Lagna and the 7th house where they are transiting as of now. They would move to her 12th and 6th house and she is running the Mahadasha of Rahu. That might not augur well for her and therefore I have discussed details for all these 3 charts, but believe me, when I sit and analyze, I look at far more details than what I've shared with you, because if I start sharing those details with you, A, it would become extremely technical, and B, it's my own personal way of analysis as well. So I'm sharing some excerpts of the analysis with you. And I feel after this analysis that however difficult it might be for Donald Trump, he will still win the election and become the next President of the United States of America. Joe Biden definitely has a good chart. The stars are in his favor. Kamala Harris is not a strong candidate. With this chart, I can't see that. But yes, the world is talking about her and she's in the news and everybody is referring to her as the next promising candidate, but her chart as of now is not showing supreme success. Assuming that this is her chart, the time that I've taken is the chart that we have, though I've looked at it in various more ways, and I have looked at various whatever is available in the public domain in terms of her childhood, her father. So those points need to be rechecked in a chart to ascertain the time. So looking at all these points, Kamala Harris is a weak candidate. Joe Biden has a good chart but might not, will not be the next President of the United States. It will be Donald Trump, and that is the end of my analysis. I hope you enjoyed it, and if it did get technical, ignore the technicalities, look at the final analysis. Donald Trump it is. With that, namaskar.